morning, Mischa. It's so nice to have you on the Strategy Maker podcast today. You are welcome as one of my very first guests on this journey of mine, and I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thanks, Johnny. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You are one of those young professionals that I follow with excitement. You are a very versatile and creative individual, the way I got to know you. And I'm sure we're going to learn a lot from you today. Your LinkedIn profile states words like sustainability, strategy, consulting, leadership development, green initiatives, profitability, innovation, and marketing. I'm very impressed. So let's start at the very beginning. Tell us more about yourself, where you grew up, your studies. Obviously, our audience would like to know you as a person.
Well, I grew up in Bloem for most of my life, all-girls school, loved it. After school, I challenged myself I wanted to play golf for a living, but I can't putt. So that dream was quickly down the drain. I then went to go study mechanical engineering, which I loved from the first day. I think I've never been that challenged in my entire life. After varsity, I worked in HVAC and R consulting, which I loved, and later on did my MBA at Gibbs, and I'm currently in the sustainability field.
That's quite an interesting field, and we will obviously get to know about the details a little bit later on your topic and subject matter. But I'm very curious about the golfing side before studies. Tell me, what was that venture for you? How did you get to it, and the lessons you learned there?
Yeah, I think golf is not always for a lot of girls, but it did fall in my lap. I used to play tennis at school, and my dad used to play golf, and I always wanted to join him. And I started playing golf and loved it. Golf is a very interesting sport. I think that's definitely where I've learned a lot of self-discipline. You're playing against yourself, and I think that's what life is all about as well. You shouldn't compare yourself to others. You are in this race against yourself, and your golf definitely teaches you that discipline, because if you don't hit those 1,000 balls a day, nobody's going to make you.
It seems that you are attracted to the non-feminine sides of business and life specifically, because, like you said, golf is not for girls, or it's not a dominant female sport, and obviously there's struggles doing that. But then you decide to take on mechanical engineering, and it's kind of, you proceed into this male world, dominantly male world, sorry. And were you the only female in your class?
Yeah, I think we were only about 3, but I think I was the only one that finished in the end. I don't know why I do go towards the more male-dominant industries. I think that's part of how I grew up, where my parents just taught me I can actually just go for anything that I want, and never really realized that I was going towards male industries more. I think which is kind of nice growing up like that there's no boundaries in who you can be. And I'm seeing a lot more girls going into like STEM engineering and sciences industries, which is very nice, because I do think we bring a different perspective. The feminine touch is always good on a project, and yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing that it's been picking up. But I think it will always be a challenge for women to be in industries like this that's a little bit more male dominant. But in the end, I think it's worth it if you can find your own feet.
And what are the obstacles, struggles that you came across in the field as a female?
I think you have to work twice as hard to kind of be heard in the room. and me especially being blonde, and sometimes I'm very light of personality, so I don't get taken so seriously. But I do make a mean coffee. So if you want me to make you coffee, I'll make a mean coffee. But challenges, yeah, I think that's mostly it. That you just have to work twice as hard, but you have to work twice as hard with anything. So always that saying of it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So yeah.
And obviously the challenge also come when you start with a family and all of that, to juggle all the balls.
Yes, definitely. So I have a son that's 16 months old, the love of my life. And it was definitely a different mindset when he came around. And I had a friend who said it is quality instead of quantity. I don't think you can do something, each person their own, but I don't think you can do 50-50. 50-50 didn't work for me. For me, it's about giving 100% in something and then having the other time with my son 100%. So that works for me. Some other moms tell me they want the 50-50 balance, but I like to go all out in the direction I go into.
No, for sure. I think you must find that rhythm as a new family to understand which way you want to go with your career. And the other side is also the company or the business you work in must be able to accommodate that view, that approach as for you as a couple.
Yes, and I think we actually, the COVID has brought a lot of strain in the world, but also it's brought some opportunities where people have noticed that they can work from home, and people's outputs are actually better at home. And it's creating a nice balance. It's a nice, I can walk around the block if I want to in the afternoon and go spend time with my son if I'm putting in extra hours in the evening or in the mornings. It's all about almost like creating the life that you want. And employers that's getting on board in that sense, I think, will attract better talent.
Yeah, I strongly agree with that. And specifically for mums and working women, there's the strains of being stuck in traffic and rushing everywhere is just not worth it at the end of the day. And like you say, your output can be even more hours because you can connect at any time of the day.
Yeah. And I mean, I can do everything and still take my son to swimming lesson in the afternoon, which I don't miss out on, which is nice. Because I think the mom guilt is a real thing, and you don't want that to be there. So yeah.
So I can tell you, it doesn't go away. I'm a grand now. And you also have grand guilt because you can't visit that often. So we always try to get to the little ones and the ones that we love, and still juggle all the other things. But then you moved into stuff like sustainability and green initiatives. So tell me about what are the trends and what fascinates you about these topics?
Yeah, so I think I've always had, coming from the engineering industry, I've had a passion for more energy efficient systems and solutions for clients and projects. And while doing my MBA, I did my thesis on sustainability and almost investing in your company, and how sustainability's pillars are people, planet, and profit. And you need people to be happy and healthy in your work environment. You need the planet to be a good environment. If the air quality is good, if the waste is being recycled, and then also profit. You have to always be profitable. But sustainability for me is, if you don't invest in sustainability, you're not going to be year for the future. And I think it's also a buzzword. People love using it, and I've noticed now it's being linked to circular economy quite often now, where people are coming up with new innovations. And I'm just seeing how people are creating stuff, like brand labels, like Tommy Hilfiger. They're taking old clothes and recycling it, and that's forward fashion. So I think everybody's kind of getting on board in that we need to create a world that is here for our children.
Yeah, I do have a sense that we might be overproducing anyway, specifically in the food production and fashion industries, and that we maybe must just take a step back and see how we can reuse and upcycle and all of that. I'm a keen upcycler in my personal life as well. But tell me about interesting projects that you've worked in sustainability and green initiatives.
So yeah, so currently I find myself more in the green building space. And I don't think there's a specific project that comes to mind, because all projects have their ups and downs, and some of them are more focused on the employee wellness, or others on energy efficiency or system designs that's very efficient. I think at the end of the day, you have to reduce, reuse, recycle. And if that's your mindset on any project, that'll go well. For sustainability in projects now on buildings, something that I would have never taken into account when I started was embodied carbon, and looking at the whole life cycle of a project, from start to finish, and then also operational. Not just sourcing products from overseas, but actually looking what we can find local, and really thinking about projects in that sense, and products that we're going to use in that project.
Yeah, I once read a blog that talks about the 3,000 kilometer salad that's grown in Spain and then flown across the world. And I think we really need to consider where our produce come from, our ground materials, and anything that we use in projects. You also did your field study in this field. What was your topic?
So it was the sustainability MBA topic.
Yes.
That was investing in the future. So what I wanted to understand was why certain companies were investing in sustainability strategies, and why they and kind of where is the tipping point of investing more than enough or not enough, that tipping point. So most of the companies that I found that was investing in sustainability, it came from leadership. It came from somebody at the top that was believing in this. And I think I was speaking to one of the guys at Imperial, and the main person at his home, he would test out all these different things like a heat pump and see if this works at his home. So personally, he was passionate about going green and sustainability, and then it kind of filtered through the company itself. And I saw that in most of the companies that I interviewed. And then to the point of where is enough and where is not enough, I think that's to each company their own. They need to calculate, and it's a model that I was developing so that they can see, where is that tipping point of investing more than enough, but still being profitable.
So you've mentioned leadership, and I want to know, what do you consider as the perfect leadership style in business today?
I think perfect leadership style today, there's no such thing, but I think you have to be adaptable. If there's anything over the last year, if we could have think like 5 years ago, was this going to be it? Nobody would have imagined. So you have to be adaptable to this fast-paced world we're finding ourselves in now, and just be a good leader, be transformational. Look at from the young employees to your older employees. Look at holistically how you can adapt this organization towards being maybe more digital if you need to be, if some people are working from home, or any challenge that you must face is very fast-paced. Yeah,
and I think for me, leadership is also about the work-life balance of your employees. Because a happy employee can manage or doesn't feel overwhelmed with the day ahead of them. And I think that's where leadership can also play a big role, and obviously the whole digital connectedness and flexibility. Okay, and one of your other skills that you quote on your LinkedIn profile is marketing. Is this a part of your current business role?
Yes, so I'm always, so it's more, I would say, marketing and business development. I love the marketing side of things, if it's digital or social media, LinkedIn, Instagram. I think marketing is you have to have a good marketing strategy in order to propel your business forward. So that's always the side that I find interesting, especially in the engineering field, how to market a better engineer in the engineering field.
Yeah, that must be very interesting. What marketing tools or trends have you had big successes with?
I think digital always, especially now, most of the companies going digital have a digital strategy, how to market their entire company online, and also make it almost like a hub, easier for people to access their information through the company's website.
And I'm sure, obviously, relationships will never be not part of the marketing game. Obviously, people need to be able to trust the company to join up with.
No, definitely. And I think that is also a trick now, or something that needs to be spent time on, is how to build trust over a screen. Because now we are meeting most new clients over a screen, and we don't have that time to chit chat in the beginning, or you kind of get into the meeting quite quickly. And building that trust, I think, is from person to person, and everything will happen over time. But building relationships and networking will always be there. I think we want that human connection. So whenever there's a conference or something, people will like go to it. No matter what, you do want that human connection. I was reading about Bill Gates, and he said now he loves this whole online working, but he's missing the conferences where he got to meet new people. And people would just come up to him and make friends. And he's like, he hasn't met any new people in the entire year during COVID.
Yeah.
And that is so interesting, because you would just struck up a conversation at the coffee bar or something, and now there's nothing like that.
I strongly believe people do business with people, and then products and services comes into play. That is just the way the world operates. And I think it will be a stretch for us to fully move over to only digital. I think it will always be a combination of that. So you've done your MBA, but you also worked for quite a while in business now. And what do you see practically in the field that business managers struggle with? Business skills or business approaches? What can you see going on in your organization or in the field?
I think as a business struggle, managers will always struggle with communication. Because we are people and we're so different, communication will always be one of the biggest challenges that any manager will face. Now with everything being over a screen, and that's also you need to almost put in extra effort to do that communication over WhatsApp or over Teams or Zoom or so. But it's definitely something you always have to work on. Always have to work on your communication and how communication is filtered throughout the organization.
Yeah, and the irony for me is that the more connected we are, the less communication, or it falls through the cracks, because the nuanced version of me standing in front of you, you can see my eyes, my facial expression, my whole demeanor, and then all of a sudden, this is kind of a little bit toned down, and a lot of stuff can fall through the cracks. Yeah, that's definitely one we need to, again, see what we're going to do about it in this digital space.
Yes, in our house, we have this joke in our house over WhatsApp that you have this WhatsApp voice that's yelling or not yelling. So it's definitely always interesting. So you can have an email voice as well, some capital letters or something, and it's not at all how you meant it, but that's how it came across. So
okay, so I gather that you are a keen reader. Which books were influential in your private life or through your studies? What are you reading at the moment?
So reading at the moment is actually a book that my son got as a present and I fell in love with. It's The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, I think.
Oh, it's a beautiful book.
It is so good. I even downloaded it on Audible and would just just play throughout the day. It's so peaceful, and the illustrations are so beautiful. And I think it's kind of a life book as well. You can give it to it was a gift from my dad for his christening, but I think throughout his life he will enjoy this. Because I mean, I'm a little older and I am enjoying this book so much, and it's just making me happy. And then business books. My favorite business book is Grit by Angela Duckworth.
Oh,
I think
yes.
if you've not read that book, you have to. It's also one of the books that I have in hard copy and on Audible. Other books, business books, I like Simon Sinek. Why? But he's also a very passionate leader. And then Amy Cuddy has that Presence book where she does the superwoman. It's like the superwoman pose. She says when you're going into a meeting, just going to the bathroom and do the Wonder Woman pose, and just like believe in yourself. And it's all about the presence you have. And so I kind of loved her as well. I found her on one of the TED Talks, and then I just started reading a book, and it's quite an interesting read. And how you should just be almost feeding off your own energy. So it's always good. So those are my top reads, I think. But yeah, I love storybooks as well. Jeffrey Archer, my favorite author of all time. Fell in love with him when I was about 10, and still reading his books to this day.
So my favorite with him is obviously Cain and Abel. That was my introduction to him, and I will never forget that book. Yeah, I'm also.
So that was my second book with him. My first book was Sons of Fortune. And I think the way he's always written has always been like a story. He tells the story about how they grew up, and then the family goes off. And I think that the last books, that Chronicles, the Clifton Chronicles, where I think was like 7 books. I was so scared he was going to die, and I wasn't going to be able to see what's going to happen at the end. But he's still kicking that he's doing the William Warwick books now. So I enjoy his books. Always a little bit of art in them, and family, love story. It's very intriguing.
I am also a keen supporter of Jeffrey Archer. Tell me, do you have icons in your industry or in the business world per se?
Because I think I'm a little bit the way I see business always a little bit different. My favorite entrepreneur is Sarah Blakely from Spanx.
Yes.
She just makes business fun. Her energy is electric. She's so passionate about what she does, and that's what we want in life. If you want to get up and just go and love what you do. And I think she almost, I follow on Instagram and LinkedIn and everything, and in all her platforms, she's just herself. She's just herself, and this is who she is. I was reading this week, she's like, she even failed the LSATs twice, but she is a businesswoman and she's making it happen. And yes, just because it doesn't look exactly like it should, there's no such thing. There's no such thing that you have to look a certain way to be an entrepreneur or something. So yeah, I think she's my favorite.
I think you've got a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in you.
Let's hope so.
I think somewhere in the future there's a venture lighting up, but we'll speak about that offline, I think. Tell me, what's your take on social media? How do you feel about it for yourself personally and obviously in business?
So I'm very, I think, on the fence with social media. You have to market your business on social media. And it is if you don't do it, you're going to fall behind. It is one of the biggest platforms now to get your marketing out there, if it's via just normal posts or via influencers. I'm seeing lots of people doing products promotion now, and influencers being paid. There's definitely a different dynamic that it's bringing. I still have a lot to learn about social media. I don't think you can know enough. So, but you have to do it. It's a must in any business. And it's also a fun type of marketing. So use it to your advantage and make it fun. You can do on with stories these days. You can connect with people. You can tag people. You can tag products. It's definitely a new type of innovation marketing that's very now in the present. So it's quick moving.
Yeah, for me, it's about finding the balance, obviously, time-wise. And so I try to focus on it as a business tool more than a personal tool. Although I know these days your personal brand contributes to the bigger scheme of things. Yes. But like you say, I love the creativity and there's a fun part to it. So you obviously can't ignore it anymore. Okay, and then I want to know which podcast and channels do you follow? You want to
so I think definitely I use Audible for all my podcasts or any books I would love. I play throughout the day. It's my favorite app. Then media that I also follow or that I like to read during the day is The Economist, usually, The Atlantic, and usually really good articles. Gives you a little bit of grasp around the world, what's happening, and yeah, it's a nice breakdown of good stories.
If you have to give some professional or business advice to females in business today, what would you tell them?
I think you should always be yourself and know that you bring a different perspective and have fun and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself.
Yeah, I think you must find your voice, obviously, and that will offer you the seat at the table, specifically if you're yourself. I strongly agree with that. Be yourself. That's the only thing you can offer the world anyway.
Yeah.
Can we find just you online or your business ventures?
You can find me online on LinkedIn or any social media. So yeah, I'm sure you'll put the link down in the chat or in the after the podcast. So
we will do that below the video for you. And then I've got a few rapid answers I want you to give. So I'm going to give you a word and then you must give me a quick answer. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Motherhood 2021.
COVID.
That was your experience, obviously.
Yeah.
Female engineers.
Difficult.
Global warming.
I want to say New York because this week they had a flood.
And you were there visited.
Best trip of my life. New York is one of those bucket list places you have to visit. So you can just kind of feel their magic. It's magic.
Yeah.
It just, but it's a different trip. Not with kids, not recommended with kids. But when they're older, I think that magic just kind of it makes you fall in love with it.
And I'm sure also not during COVID now, because it seems that it's totally different from what we could have
I was very lucky to be there before. And also in autumn. So it was autumn in New York and
beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay, the future.
Exciting.
Wonderful. And then lastly, South Africa.
Potential. I think I would like to say something about that. After the weeks, months we've had now in South Africa, I've noticed a few people being very discouraged about being here. But yes, and then after the Olympics, I was just thinking, so much potential. We come together as a nation and it makes me excited. And there's always potential for every person in this country. And we're all like hustlers. So you should just hustle your way here and make your own way.
That is such a strong statement. I would like to thank you for coming onto the podcast and obviously giving us hope. And what I see is, like you said, so much potential, because I just need to look at the next generations to know we're going to survive this, we're going to work through it, and we will have the necessary grit to do that. Thank you so much for coming onto the Strategy Maker podcast.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, Johnny, you've been amazing always for me. You're a great mentor, and I do love you so much.
See you soon offline.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Mish. Bye-bye.
Bye.